Here's left. Pulls up, looking for the lead, and he got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11.109. Now SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Topic Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Huntsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the Believe Network, and this podcast is brought to you by the good folks at FanDuel. And another thing brought to you from FanDuel today is we have a new guest on the podcast. First time here. Everybody, welcome in Bridget Case. Bridget, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. As we was talking before the pod, I'm a little bit sleepy, but I'm re-energized. Anytime I get on the pod, I feel like I flip a switch. The energy comes back up. So excited to talk some Thunder basketball. Obviously, as I said, you're a new time guest. You're from California, not necessarily a Thunder fan. We can kind of.
Hey, you know what? I've interviewed a lot of Thunder players at All-Star Weekend, so I can give you that at least.
There we go. Hey, I like it. You're honorary Thunder fan. We'll take that.
Yeah.
But whenever we have a new guest on, we always like to kind of, ask a few background questions to get, kind of get an idea of, who it is that's on the pod. I won't give you the third degree, but I just want to ask you, what was it that first got you into covering sports?
Okay. Well, I can give you the semi-quick little summary that's pretty much sounds the same every time I say it. But basically, I was a huge sports fan growing up. Loved football and basketball, huge passion in our family household. Always knew that I wanted to be a reporter. Didn't know if that meant print journalism or going into television. I ended up going the television route after cheering in college. I cheered at the University of Oregon, and we had a really good broadcast journalism program. And I obviously loved cheering at basketball games and football games. It was just such an electric experience. Ended up cheering in the NFL for a little bit with the San Diego Chargers at the time. Really, felt like I belonged on the sidelines for life. And so that transitioned into my journalism career, and I worked in TV for a bit. I was a sports anchor and reporter for different affiliates for CBS and NBC. And I was a sports writer, covered a lot of WNBA and women's college basketball. And I would say one of the early, besides my first Super Bowl in 2016, one of the big early events I covered was NBA All-Star Weekend in 2018. And that was I feel like that was a turning point for me where I realized that I could actually go into the digital space and do this a little bit more on my own and a little bit more with some zest and fire and a little bit being more me, which basically led into my transition into becoming a content creator and a host for several platforms and into live streaming, and then eventually joining the FanDuel team. So it's been a really weird, interesting journey, coming from the traditional side and now being the digital space. But we know content is king. It's the future. Podcasting is it. And I mean, that's the thing. Podcasting was what kind of gave me that push to get into this space. So now we're here.
No, hey, that's awesome. And you talk about the digital age, and you mentioned your stream, and as I was kind of researching you, I see that you do a lot of stuff on Twitch. And is that was you doing Twitch before you got in touch with FanDuel? Was that how you outlet with FanDuel or what?
Yeah, because I'll work with Twitch and Amazon a lot directly when they were really trying to launch a lot of more of their sports content. It's really cool. Well, sometimes they'll basically have me come host different shows for them, and that's what made me really see wow, there is a huge opportunity for sports content on this platform that most people see as a traditional gaming platform. I mean, we've had some of the coolest opportunities. I hosted the first Battle of the Paddles as a ping pong tournament during Super Bowl week, where we had it at the NFL Fan Experience. I've hosted Streamer Bowl, getting to do those really, really cool events that led to also FanDuel looking for someone who loved streaming. And so I was already obviously streaming on my personal platforms as well, and just doing NFL and NBA and college basketball watch parties. And yeah, FanDuel needed a live streaming body, and I was able to fill that void. And I'm very passionate about sports betting and just where FanDuel is going in the sports space, because there's so much more than a sports book. And they have like a huge passion for just pushing the boundaries when it comes to social content. And there's just like, there's endless possibilities working with a company like FanDuel. So it's been a truly magical experience, because I also feel like outside of the sports stuff, I feel like I can really be myself and add a lot of personality to content or whatever we're doing, and be a little bit weird, show a little bit up, like me, not completely perfect. And that's what people love. People love real, and we get to watch a lot of sports together with my community and sweat out FanDuel bets together. Basically, like, put FanDuel content together in real time, which is something that I feel like a lot of content creators aren't able to experience. So it's really cool, and I encourage everyone to get into the live streaming space. It's very special, and huge future there.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's awesome. That's, we started just doing audio for like the longest time, for
Yeah,
probably
of
like
course.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Then we started like, recording and then posting, like our edited videos. And yeah, we've been going live for about 1.5 years, and
Love it.
it's whenever there's a big win, especially like in the playoffs, like, the streams pop, and it's a great time. The energy's high. And also whenever we lose to the Spurs for like the third time in, a couple weeks, the streams also pop in for different reasons. So,
Right.
but yeah,
Engagement is engagement. We love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you celebrate and you sweat. Like that's fandom in a nutshell. But
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you mentioned FanDuel, we talked about Thunder. I did want to ask you, you said that you interview players All-Star Weekend. Was that this past All-Star Weekend?
Yeah. So I've worked a couple All-Star weekends. The last two straight, last year was San Francisco. This year obviously was in LA. So yeah, got to this. What was that? Oh my gosh, 2 weeks ago. I've been a mess ever since working Super Bowl back to back with NBA All-Star Weekend. My brain has just been like all over the place.
Yeah, the schedule.
I'll be honest, my suitcases are still not unpacked, but it's a gradual process. But yeah, I mean, I love NBA All-Star Weekend because you get to see a different side of these guys, and especially guys who are coming from teams like the Thunder that are so good and have so much pressure on them to repeat the success that they had last year. It's finally like a moment for these guys to let down a little bit. Just the scrums can get a little bit crazy and hard to get into. But it really is fun, and getting access to the players like that, where it's just a lot more, I don't want to say chill. Chill's not the right word, but just laid back. Is really spectacular. So I love that part for sure.
I gotcha. Did you any stories or bites from like Shai or Chet this year?
Ooh, trying to think. I feel like I got a lot of Chet bites last year, a lot, because obviously he was younger, and because I think we had him on Friday. I got a lot of bites from Chet last year. I'll have to go through some of that stuff. Yeah, he's a great guy to interview. Shai was obviously crazy, but was able to get a couple questions in with him. Super kind guy. But I'm nothing like crazy. I'm trying to think of what were any of the weird moments this year. I feel like sometimes they don't register until I'll like go back and look and be like, oh my gosh, that was hilarious that someone, said X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Like not Thunder related, but I remember like last year, someone with James Harden was just like, what was it like to be born in the 1900s? It was so funny. And everyone just started cracking up because it was after like 1,000 very serious questions. And then like some Gen Zer came in with just the zinger, and it was so funny. So actually I would say the format was a lot cooler this year. Like, so when obviously so many people were flocking to Shai's pod, they did have them lower to the ground this year. So you were able, as long as you could get in there early, and I was kind of camped out by Shai pretty early, then, I was able to get my mic in there and make sure that I was there for everything. Cause this year was a little weird. Like, it was great if you were able to camp out and like get your spot, but they didn't have everything like don't know how to explain it. Usually, obviously, they're on risers and, the guys are protected and everything. So it was a little bit closer quarters this year, but they ended up closing down practice, which was so weird. So it just felt like everyone was on top of each other for a while. So I don't know. That was like a weirder energy, but it was cool that they had the guys closer down to the ground. Obviously some people's security is more intense than others, but Shai was pretty accessible, which was really cool.
Yeah, because they usually open up the practice to like the whole public, right?
Yeah, and it's great because that kind of thins out media. People are going and getting content and things. And yeah, so that format was weird because everyone was just basically sitting on top of each other waiting in between interviews. So I would say like the funniest character in and out of interviews was Giannis, because he just like was taking random gifts and things from little kids and people, and then like coming up with the funniest sound bites and like cheersing all these people with his gummies. But there was this one reporter, because it was Valentine's Day when we had the regular All-Stars out, and this one reporter kept giving all the guys roses, and it was so funny because the reactions, like everyone just had completely different wild reactions. Some of the guys were like really, really into it. They're like, oh, this is so sweet. And then other guys were just like so confused. And then the guys started giving the roses to each other. Yeah, it was hilarious. So that was like a good, I feel like, just funny moment tidbit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, that's funny. Just massive basketball players just carrying around roses all day.
Yeah, it's hysterical. Like, and some of them were just putting them in their teeth, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
No, that's great. Well, mentioning Shai, I mean, let's get right into it. I mean, whenever you talk about Shai, I mean, he's in the conversation for best in the world at this point, but like MVP, he's kind of fluctuated. Like he's been the favorite for, I'd say, like pretty much most of the season, but the odds have kind of fluctuated. It's actually taken a spike since the last time that I've potted. Minus 220
what
now.
are you seeing though? Because I just pulled up, I just refreshed FanDuel, and am I seeing a flip? Is Shai back on top? Because I thought Jokic was on top yesterday. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at it since I think Friday.
I'm seeing SGA is at minus 320 for MVP. Then Joker at plus 600, Cade's at plus 1500.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what I got too. And I think when I looked on Friday, he was like minus 270. So like he was still the favorite, but like the odds have gone even more in his favor. I think since after the, obviously the performance against Jokic and the Nuggets on Friday, but also, just seeing that he seems to be all the way back. Even, the Mavericks game, even though he sat tonight against the Bulls, that was kind of like, it's a back-to-back, like getting ready for this brutal stretch of games that we're about to play. So now I'll just ask you, like as an objective observer, a FanDuel enthusiast, like, do you think that Shai is probably going to walk away with the MVP at this point?
I have a couple thoughts because I think, look, the top three guys favored to win MVP right now between Joker, Cade, and SGA. It's not all like they've been all playing all season long. What, like Shai's played 51 games, Cade's 53, Joker's just 46.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little bit of a concern when they've all played less-ish games. Can Shai really walk away with this reward? Because he's only got, oh God, I wrote it down. Is it only 3?
I think he's got 5 now.
Is it 5? Okay. Why did I think it was 3? He's only got a couple games left, or 5 games left, before being able to before being disqualified. And I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to put that bad energy out there. Like, it is, again, very, very possible that he wins this award. But the Thunder are a team that can win without him. And that is one of the strengths of Oklahoma City. And I think that's where fans will be a little bit frustrated, right? But your front office, your coaching staff has got to think about the health of your best player in SGA. And I think whether it's the abdominal strain or something else comes along, I just don't know if he'll play enough games to be able to walk away with the award. especially because it's not like he is a complete defining factor for. I don't know. I'm looking. It's hard because I know Oklahoma City fans would be so disappointed in this, but like I just see OKC as such a good dominant team that I look at teams like Denver who really fall apart without Joker on the floor. So I don't know. I just like I'm always weird about guys repeating too. So I don't like want to be a total downer, but I'm kind of thinking Jokic might come away with it just because
he can only miss. I think he can only miss like one more
I think he
game
can
or
only miss
something
one
like
or
that.
two games.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm looking at, I just think like, look, SGA is so talented, but he has the stronger roster, and the Nuggets suck without Jokic. So, I think from a betting standpoint too, he's what plus 600.
Yeah.
So I like getting a little bit more
Better
juice
value.
there.
Yeah.
So I think that's also where I'm coming from. Wemby could be an out of nowhere guy that comes in their ways plus 2,000.
Yep.
I know you guys don't want to think about this with Spurs, but that could also be a possibility. So I'm not feeling if I'm shaking my magic 8-ball, I think it might do the ask again later.
Yeah. No, I feel that. And like, value wise, I definitely get like, there's not much value in taking Shai at minus 320 at this point. Like you got to put a lot of money down to like make anything.
Parlay it with something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you're in a market that'll let you do that. Sometimes they won't let you do that with your awards. But I will say like, you mentioned Jokic and the Nuggets playing, being worse without him. I think like the product looks worse, but like actually if this year specifically, and it's credit to Jamal Murray, Peyton Watson, other guys stepping up. I think they have a better winning percentage with Jokic out than with him in. And obviously,
that's
like it's like marginal. I think it's like 62.5 to like 60% or something like that. But again, like, that's Jamal Murray was an all-star this year. Peyton Watson, stepped up in a huge way. They've had some other guys, Spencer Jones, Julian Strawther, Jalen Pickett, guys stepping up in the margins. And then, it's kind of the same way with OKC. Like their percentage is still better with Shai on the floor, but also with Shai on the floor, he hasn't had Jalen Williams for pretty much most of the year. AJ Mitchell became a huge factor for this team. We haven't seen him in almost 2 months at this point. Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, like they're in and out of the lineup over and over again. It feels like, and since Jokic has been back for the Nuggets, at least in this stretch, I think they're 5-8 in this last stretch.
It's not as impressive as it should be for sure.
Yeah. So like that's the thing with Shai is he, even though like, we started the season 24-1, obviously we had a little bit of a skid because like half of our team got injured. Like,
that was just bad. Yeah,
it's like Shai can only do so much. Like, one or two guys, like, we could probably carry the load, but like you got 6 or 7 guys out. It's kind of hard to keep it going. But I would say the thing that pushes Shai over the edge for me is just the fact that he's the model of consistency. He's doing it every night. He's the guy, that every team is game planning for, and it doesn't matter who's on the floor.
After him. Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's on the floor for his team. Like, you're still gonna have a really good shot to win, and we still, have the best record in the West and right there with the Pistons for the league. So that's where I'm at with Shai in terms of like why I think he should win. But again, like I said, value wise, I understand like going with somebody else.
Yeah,
at least
from a betting standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's I'm not discrediting Jokic, Cade, Wemby. They've all had great seasons, both sides of the floor. Kind of sticking with that, you don't love the idea of, you don't not love the idea of Shai winning the MVP. You just feel like he might not because of all the reasons you said. Let's look at the Thunder as a team because, you did feel pretty good about them as a team, having a better roster around them. Right now, the Thunder are the favorites to win the championship by far at plus 130. The Spurs and the Nuggets are actually tied at plus 750. Shout out Western Conference.
Yeah, seriously dominating.
Are you? How are you feeling about the Thunder's chances to go back to back this year?
I feel honestly, I feel pretty good. I think. I mean, I know it is kind of not surprise pick that the only obviously major competition in the conference is Wemby and the Spurs. I mean, he's unreal. So that is their biggest challenger on that side. And then I would say, obviously, like my prediction is OKC Detroit. So the Pistons are great defense, good shooting early and often. Cade Cunningham is lights out. And so I think those are really the only threats, but I do feel good because, again, the Thunder are so good without their best player. They're consistent. You're not so worried. And I think we're coming off of, I'm coming out of like a chaotic NFL season where it just felt like so many major rosters were dropping huge starters like flies. And so to see a team that's finally healthy, and you guys are in a space where it always feels like at least someone is able to come in and I don't know, you're deep enough as a bench, like you guys, I don't know, you guys will be solid. They'll be fine. I'm gonna sound, I have a couple thoughts later that might contradict, especially when I was trying to look at some of the bench stats from tonight. So it might sound contradicting, but I promise it's not. Basically, my point is your starters are really, really great and you have a decent bench, but sometimes the stats don't look like it. So
yeah, no, I mean
wise.
No, that's for sure. And I do think, I'm kind of bleeding into
starting five, consistent.
Oh, for sure. And, kind of leading into another question that I had, in the rough outline is, one of the reasons that I feel more comfortable about our bench going forward is the acquisition of Jared McCain. And,
where was this guy in Philly?
Right. Well, I mean, we saw him at the beginning of the year last year. He just, he got injured and he tried to work back, and then Maxi's emergence, and apparently, according to Sixers fans, Nick Nurse's ineptitude as a head coach, he was not able to, realize this version of himself. And, I mean, credit to Sam Presti, this is why we stockpile assets. This is how we were able to acquire this guy. And him coming onto the team, originally, the only thing that Thunder fans were thinking was shooting, elite shooting.
Yeah, he's shooting the breaks off the ball.
Yeah, and he's a great shooter, but not just that. But Isaiah Joe was a guy that was okay, you might be old news, you might be the guy on the outside looking in, but he has elevated his play.
Hey, look what that did! It brought him up.
He's completely elevated his play, and not just as a shooter, on the margins, as a scorer, off ball guy, all the boxes are being checked with Isaiah Joe. And when they're both on the floor together, it's one of the best offenses in the league at this point.
100%.
So
they meshed right away. It's beautiful. It really feels like a synchronized swimming routine.
Yeah. Yeah, two guys just relocating on the floor with no real creation, as a creator until Shai got back in the lineup. And then, of course, the very first game that Shai got in the lineup with those two, they just broke basketball for a second. Yeah. So we've led the acquisition.
That kind of synergy feels illegal. And sitting here as a Lakers fan, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you could probably use somebody like Jared McCain out there, but I guess you guys probably lean more defense. But I will say, that was one of the worries for Jared McCain was with his size and his defense. But he even said in interviews once I got traded here, I knew I had to step up defensively, and I feel like he has. There's still every now and then he'll get blown by, he might get cooked, on a bigger guy, but I feel like he's trying. He's out there. He's pesky,
Absolutely.
Especially off ball.
Yeah, he's feisty.
Yeah. So I think that, he's a perfect fit for the culture, perfect fit for the team. I've loved his acquisition. And I think that if there was any question about if we was going to repeat, because like you said, the bench, kind of letting us down, the shooting really letting us down in the playoffs last year. I feel much more confident in that.
Definitely
as a healthy unit going into the playoffs.
He's kind of the outside. He's kind of that 6-man energy. Yeah. That you need.
Yeah. For sure. I wanted to ask you, talk about the playoffs. What do you think? You mentioned bench scoring. We talked about shooting. What do you think the biggest X factor, swing factor is for the OKC in the playoffs?
I was basically going to say that, like, you're very consistent starting five and the bench. Like, are you going to shoot well outside of McCain being a solid sixer? Like, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean like 76er, but I'm like, but you look at like Caruso Williams, like, are we gonna shoot well tonight or what? Like, what's happening? So I think it basically comes down to that, like your starting five or fire. But like you look at a team like, gosh, who was it? Oh, damn it. The Pistons?
Yeah, Pistons pretty deep. Celtics pretty deep.
Oh God, I'm trying to remember. Oh man. It's not that late, but I feel like my brain is on late. But basically, yeah, I think if you guys can, because I had the box score up. Hold on. Let's looking at tonight, because I feel like your bench wasn't shooting great from first half, right?
Yeah, the whole offense was just like really struggling.
Yeah, when I was kind of keeping an eye on things early. So I think, that basically comes down to it. If everyone could put some McCain energy out there, that would be awesome. But and just health in general. Like, again, Oklahoma City doesn't need SGA to dominate, but it'd be damn well helpful, especially if you can't rely on the accuracy of your bench shooting. So yeah, if they can get SGA through healthy, that would be stellar. So yeah, I would say going back to the bench. I know it's not like the most creative answer, but I think that is the big swing factor for sure.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, we was able to make it work last year just because Shai elevated himself to like a new level. Dub really stepped up, specifically like as the playoffs went on, he got better and better, dropping 40 in the finals, with the torn ligament in his wrist. And then Chet, like as much as the numbers wasn't showing up, like defensively, he was just on another level.
Absolutely, especially like for his age, and so I think we forget about all these young guys. They're still developing. So the future is so bright.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask you one more question before we get out of here. We always try to end on like a fun note. I actually have two questions. We'll go off rip a little bit, but the first one was kind of in the outline. Obviously, you saw the game, the conversation on Friday with Lou Dort, his foul against Jokic. I'm not going to talk about, the foul, if it was dirty, if it was intentional, if Dort's the most evil player in the world, because that's tired. Like that was Monday's conversation. I wanted to ask you this, just for the sake of, just fun and imagination, if I was to take a 5-man roster of Thunder players and just to be a 5-on-5 fight. So like if I'm taking, let's say I'm going to take Lou Dort, I'm going to take Big J Will. I'm going to take Kendrick Williams. And then I'm probably going to take Isaiah Hartenstein just for size. And then probably Caruso. I think I'm going to take Caruso. I think Caruso could scrap a little bit. I don't know. Based on what Chandler Parsons has,
maybe I don't know.
Maybe I should take Jared McCain because apparently, according to Chandler Parsons, he's James Johnson in the octagon.
Oh, he says, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe it. Yeah, I don't know if I believe it, but if that's the case, we'll sub him out for Caruso. But if you're going to take your starting 5 of fighters to go against my 5, who would you got?
Ooh. Wait, just to fight, not play?
Yeah, no, straight up, just fight. Just like bare knuckle box.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, this changes things.
I was about to say, I can give you a lob to like start you off. Like Isaiah Stewart, 100%.
I was kind of thinking if I was like going starting 5, I was going to go like Steph at point guard. I was thinking Ant, Giannis, like Kawhi, and then Joker or Wemby.
Yeah. You're just taking like the 5 best players, not Shai.
Exactly. So 5 best players, not Shai. Yeah. So, but now I'm like, no offense, Steph, but he's too little. Hell no. Oh God, man. Shoot. Maybe. Okay. You know what? Let's throw James Harden. Let's go James Harden.
Okay.
I know Wemby's thin, but I think his size I'm thinking of like human rock, paper, scissors. He's paper.
Just the reach.
Just the reach. Exactly. Yeah. Ooh. Now I'm like, okay. Damn. Okay. Yeah, I would say Harden, Wemby. Mm. Okay, maybe I still do go Anthony Edwards because I feel like, I feel like he just he just feels like a little shit as like a child, So
yeah, you can cuss. We're explicit.
Okay, yeah, it feels like a little shit as a child. I just like imagine him running around. Yeah, I feel like, oh yeah, okay, for sure. Giannis, because I feel like he would be that gentle seeming giant force and then just like fake you out. Okay, I need one more to fight.
I can't believe you haven't said Isaiah Stewart. He's like the most feared man in the league.
Yeah, okay, that's a good. Yeah, we'll put him in there. Especially, look, they got the rest of the. I think we could take you.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty close. You got some good size. We got some good size. We got some scrappy guys. If Jared McCain's actually a professional fighter, we might have an edge. But we'll see.
Well, and I mean, size looks. It's we got different shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, tap in the comments, tap in, in the mentions, whose squad do you think wins 5-on-5 fight? I do want to ask you before we get out of here, every now and then, especially if we're potting like right before a game the next night, we like to put together a little bit of a parlay. Would you like to do like a three pick each parlay?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's go for it for sure.
All right. You're the guest, so I'll let you have first pick. You can do alt lines, you can do normal props, whatever. It's hard to do normal props because they probably aren't up yet, but you can do alt lines.
Let's go. Just on the Thunder side, or you want me to go Knicks too?
You can do either one.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry to spring this on you. My bad.
No, you're good. I'm like, part of me is like, because I love first basket props. They don't always hit, but they're juicy. So it's not something to parlay, but I get excited when I open up like opening lines for NBA games. And I'm like, oh my God, first basket, what's it look like? Obviously, SGA is on top at plus 500. We're not going to take that in a parlay because that's not smart. Absolutely not. Let's see. If we're parlaying this, are we okay? So we're each taking a leg. How many am I going 2 leg or what? What are we doing?
So we're gonna go back and forth. So you pick a leg, I pick a leg, and we'll just do 3 each. So 6 leg parlay.
Great. I wanted to look at. Let's see. Let me pull up some. Oh my God, March 4th. What the hell? Yeah. I cannot believe. So sometimes what I like to do, I like to, compare a few things and see where people have the spread around. So some people have the spread around 3.5, some others about 4.5. That's where we've got it on FanDuel. Obviously, money line for Thunder is minus 180. This thing being, as it's at MSG, I want to take OKC to cover on that main line, but
at the minus 4.5.
Yeah, I'm like, because part of me wanted to look at an alt spread. I was kind of like,
you can do that.
Let's see.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times when we do picks. Alt spreads are where it's at.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, because it's always like I feel confident we can cover that spread, but like I don't know for sure. Like it could be like a 1-point victory.
Yeah. Let me look. Okay, quickly. I'm gonna look at player alt points. So Shai's main points is 30.5. Chet is sitting at 16.5, but That over is minus 132. I do not like unders for just something about me. I hate unders for player props during
I don't love them
NBA
either.
regular season. It's boring. It's boring. You know, like only losers take the unders. Come on.
Yeah.
So damn, yeah, they don't have the main alts yet. Let's go. Okay, let's go Chet. You know what? Whatever. We'll stick with it. Let's go Chet over 16.5 points.
Okay. Chet over 16.5. I like it. I think, what did he have tonight? He had like 11 points tonight, I think. So, no, he had 12 points tonight. I will say his offense is much better whenever Shai's on the floor, obviously.
Yep. So with him
helps every
back,
creator out there. So, yeah.
I tack on 4 more or 5, whatever it is, 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with that for sure. I mean, I'm going with the cheat code. I mean, Shai 30 is light work, and I'm just going to bump it up because his line is 30.5. So I will go 30.5 for Shai. I think Josh Hart's his main like defensive assignment usually, and he made him touch earth last time they played. So
actually, Josh Hart usually comes through for me. That's actually usually a banger of a play. Let me see. Do I want to go? Possibly. I hate that I can't. Yeah, I'm not seeing alt action right now. Because I was gonna look at Jalen Brunson, but I don't.
You can say alt line. We just don't have the odds for it.
Yeah, you don't have it yet. Yeah.
Because we've done that in the past too.
Yeah, like let's see. Records. Boom, boom, boom. Hosting games. So now you know what happens on my live streams. We take such a long time. Like I'm just not like because I love to do all my research,
right,
and look through everything. So
that's probably why you're sponsored by FanDuel. You probably hit some parlays pretty good.
We do. Okay, Cat shooting 58.8 from the field, 52.1% from deep since the All-Star break. So I did want to. Cat's main line is 17.5 though, plus 100. I don't love. Let's see his threes. It's 136. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I wish, because I'm like, I don't want to give out an alt when we don't have the odds for it, but maybe. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe let's just take the main spread. I'm just gonna go with that.
Okay. Thunder minus 4.5.
4.5. Yeah.
I like it. I'm gonna go with Isaiah Joe 3-pointers made. Ooh, or do I want to go Jared McCain? Yeah, no, I'm gonna say Isaiah Joe. I think that he gets more volume from 3 than McCain does. It's at over 2.5 is plus 152. I think he's hit that like at least like the last 3 games, something like that. So yeah, I'll take that to the bank.
Let's go make some money.
And then one more pick from you, one more pick from me, and we can lock it in.
Okay, so yeah, I'm like, okay, if we're gonna keep it simple, because maybe I just go Got Jalen Brunson's. Let's see. 2 for 7, 4 for 7, 6. 2.5 or 3.5. Okay, 2 for 7 against the Raptors for threes, 4 for 7 against the Spurs, 4 for 6 against the Bucks, 3 for 7. Let's go Jalen Brunson over 2.5 3-pointers.
Okay, let's see here. 2.5 3-pointers, so minus 114.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right. Let's see here. I will. Let me see. Do they don't like putting defensive odds up here until the game day.
Too early.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, I think that I will take that for sure. Chet Holmgren over 8.5 rebounds. I mean, he's just been rebounding the ball so well recently. I mean, even with Hartenstein in the lineup against the Nuggets and against Jokic and co, he had 21 rebounds. He had 11 tonight, being the main guy. I like 8.5 plus 116. I'll take that for sure. Hey, those 6 picks we got. Chet Holmgren over 16.5 points, Shai over 30.5 points, Oklahoma City Thunder minus 4.5 spread, Isaiah Joe over 2.5 threes, Brunson over 2.5 threes, and Chet over 8.5 rebounds. That is good for plus 50.90 on FanDuel. So you can go put a nice little parlay down on that one, and maybe win you some cash. So with that being said, Bridget, we definitely appreciate you coming on. It was good talking to you, fun talking. All the experience that you've had. A little bit of Thunder basketball, a little bit of betting. I want to go ahead and give you a chance to plug anything that you're working on, where folks can find you, where they can listen to your stuff.
Yeah. I'm kind of in that lovely in between after I've gotten back from back-to-back Super Bowl and NBA All-Star Weekend and before March Madness chaos starts. So I'm in like the let's take care of life stuff right now kind of couple of weeks. It's really lovely. I'm just catching up on stuff. So I would say the next week, 2 weeks, nothing exciting. But you can follow me on social media at Bridget Case. This is my name. Oh God, over here. We got a lot of exciting stuff though coming up for March Madness. Huge promos and a couple streams, shows coming up that you can tune into on Twitch. But obviously, I'm everywhere. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, and yeah, all the places. So we'll have a lot of great sports content coming your way. And a lot of great stuff going on behind the scenes right now for FanDuel. So make sure you're also following on all the FanDuel platforms. You'll see my face on there. So you'll recognize a friendly face if you follow FanDuel's social content. They're doing a great job. So
that's awesome. Well, like I said, once again, we really appreciate you coming on. Good luck to your Lakers in the rest of the season, but not too much luck. Obviously, but
it's okay. You know what? We had enough to get me through my entire childhood. It was magical. So yeah. I'm really okay. Like I would be more miserable if I'm a Chargers fan when it comes to football. So that's much more miserable. So it's all good.
I got you. I mean, you got a good quarterback. So
we do. We've just never won a Super Bowl. So
yeah, no, I feel that. Well, with that being said, hope you have a great night. Appreciate you coming on. And listeners, we're going to take a break, and Alex is going to join us. And we'll talk Bulls and Mavs game right after a word from our sponsors. Have a good night, Bridget.
Thanks.
All right. Back from the break. Alex is not joining us yet, but he is about to. I guess I need to actually tell him we are ready. All right, so talked a lot about Thunder, talk a lot about betting, talk a lot about NBA futures. It was interesting to kind of see, an outsider's perspective on the Thunder and the award races and stuff. I still feel pretty strongly that Shai's going to win MVP just because, he has 5-game cushion and like 20-ish games left. And I think I saw somebody say that if he sat out every back-to-back, which, not both sides of the back-to-back, but one side of every back-to-back for the rest of the season, like he'll still be eligible to win. And I think that might be the plan. I think that he might just sit out, one side of the back-to-back for the rest of the season. And if he does that, then he's still going to walk away with MVP pretty easily. And speaking of MVPs, I got to bring on my compadre, my compatriot, my co-host, my guy, Alex Roy. What up, Alex?
What up, man? What up?
Welcome to the show, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Did you have fun with Bridget?
Yeah, man.
Did she school you on the ways of the parlay?
I wouldn't say she schooled me, but she definitely took her time with her picks a little bit more than I do, just because, there's might be a reason that she wins more. Maybe I should take a little bit more time. Maybe I won't miss my parlays by one leg like I tend to do. Like, I'm looking at you, Kenrich Williams, freaking God, he just need 8 points tonight, and I'm not talking about it anyways. Alex, since we've last podcasted, the Thunder have played the Mavs, the Thunder have played the Bulls. The roster looked very different in both of those games.
Yeah.
Roster looked very different for the Mavs and the Bulls as well. But wanted to ask you, single large item, man, what was your big takeaway between these two games?
I think we're back to playing Thunder basketball, regardless of who's out there on the floor. Mavs game we had the full complement basically without Dub, without AJ.
Mm-hmm.
And then this game, of course, Hartenstein sat out, SGA sat out. Of course, Dub, AJ are out. But one of the big things that I think we were missing earlier this year was just like that mindset of the 0-0 mindset. The 1 of 82 mentality, where you just go out there and you play your game regardless of who your opponent is. And next man up mentality. So I think we're getting back to that, and we're getting back to that at the right point in the season. Like, we really need this to happen, start happening now, and get into the playoffs and hopefully have that mentality still there. But yeah, man, look, we had a big game on Friday. We played the Nuggets, came back, beat them in overtime. Shai sat overtime, and then there was that possibility of a letdown game for Dallas. And yeah, we didn't perform as crisply as we would like, but still came out of there with a W. Same thing tonight. It was ugly at times. It was great and exhilarating at times, and we still came out with a W. And so I think that's that's the mentality that we went into last season, regardless of who's out there. Play Thunder basketball and win the game. Play defense. Spray the ball around, find the good shot, find the better shot, and I think we're getting back to that. So. Happy to see that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And talk about playing Thunder basketball. Like, you can't play. You can play Thunder basketball without Shai, but like Shai makes it a lot easier. Yeah. And the thing that's been great to see is Shai hasn't missed a beat, and he might have even gotten better. Like, in terms of his 3-point shooting, he's still got to work that back out just because he's out of rhythm. He's missed a lot of time. He's got to get that back in his repertoire. But in terms of his mid-range scoring, his finishing around the rim, his playmaking, he's been so good. His interior passing specifically, has just leap is an understatement for what he's done this year.
Mm-hmm. I just think he was tired, man. I think these 3 weeks of rest, thank God for the All-Star break, which gave him a week of rest without having to miss any games. But yeah, these 3 weeks of rest have hopefully helped him to recharge. And I think now we can kind of manage his time and his rest going forward. We saw tonight, he was out tonight, front end of a back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
The big game is tomorrow against New York, so of course he's gonna play in that game. Probably Hartenstein's gonna play in that game. And so Dub and AJ, their evaluation dates, AJ's has passed, and so he had that ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Dub is out there working out before games and things like that. So I think we are very close to being as healthy as we've ever been through this entire season.
Yeah, not for sure. And, speaking of what you're talking about with Shai, I was talking about before you got on about, Bridget wasn't convinced that Shai was going to play enough games to win the MVP. And, at this point, when missing the Bulls game, he has 5 more games left to miss. And I think I saw somebody say, we have 20 games left in the season?
We have 19 after tonight.
19. Okay. Yeah. So, and I did see somebody else say that if he misses one end of the back-to-backs, every back-to-back we have left, he'll still be eligible. And yeah. I could see that being the plan, especially with how tight things are in the Western Conference. At the top right now, the Spurs are, I think, only 2.5 games back from us.
Still 3.
It's 3 now? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, it's still very close. Obviously, we're coming back from injuries. We're trying to get guys back in rhythm. I could see, the Thunder, even if we're sitting the guys out on the back-to-backs, I could see the Thunder still playing Shai like the first half of games just to like make sure he's in rhythm, he's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, consolation prize, he's eligible for the awards that he so rightly deserves. Like, because, you know, say what you want, like, you know, Shai's obviously going to choose like winning a ring over winning MVP. But if you're talking about like conversations and if you're talking about vindication and like validating of like a player, like guys that win back-to-back MVPs, and, you know, as some of the conversation online was today, winning back-to-back MVP and finals MVP, which means, you know, he won the ring back-to-back times. Like, there's been 2 other players that have won MVP, finals MVP in back-to-back seasons. Do you know who they are?
Jordan.
Okay.
And Curry? No, he lost. Yeah, they lost. And then who? Larry Bird.
Nope.
Magic Johnson.
LeBron James.
Really?
You know, only the 2 best players to ever play the game of basketball. Like, that's the conversations that Shai would be in if he was able to make that happen.
Hold on. When did LeBron ever win back-to-back titles?
At Miami.
The Miami ones. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I forget about those, man. You know, those are in the dark recesses of my mind because, you know, we lost the first one. You know, we lost to the finals to them. So, yeah, those are in those dark, you know, trauma-filled recesses of my mind.
Yeah, we should have been up 2-0 going into Miami, but that's a different story for another day.
That was a foul that LeBron committed on KD.
Absolutely was. Different series if that happens. And it was the stupid 2-3-2 format, so like we didn't even get a chance to come back to OKC.
Look, no, hold on. So before we move on, so of course I have season tickets, and I've had season tickets the whole time since 2008. And so game 2. So we won game 1. I was at game 1. Awesome. Great. Somebody made me an offer that I could not refuse. And I sold my game 2 tickets thinking that, you know, even if we lose game 2, there's a high probability that we'll be back for game 6. You know, that's how I felt that series was going to go. So I sold those tickets. Yeah, exactly. So I sold those tickets thinking that, hey, I was going to – nope. Never saw Harden play for the Thunder ever again. That's
tough. I mean, hey, that depending on how you feel about Harden, that could have been a blessing, especially like in that final series. That was rough, but yeah, no, that's bad memories. Yeah, Chelsea was like, we was watching the game. She's like, "Wow, you guys literally won the finals last year. Like, never thought that was going to happen." I was like, honestly, like, you know, I wasn't surprised we won last year, but like that was the first year I was like, we're gonna win the finals. Like we are going to win the finals, like, and no doubt in my mind. She's like, well, you know, there was back in my 2012 when you play LeBron. I was like, don't even get me started about that series. So, but yeah, no, like getting back to playing Thunder basketball, and my single large item is that obviously Chet hasn't been able to scale up offensively with, you know, all of these creators out. And that's no fault to Chet. Like, that's just not in his game right now. That's not what his focus has been. His focus has been on conditioning and all the things on the margins. And to his credit, he's been phenomenal at that. Like, best in the league at that, I would dare to say. With Shai back in the lineup against the Nuggets and also against the Mavericks, you know, you started to see Chet Holmgren, you know, kind of blossom a little bit more offensively on that side of the ball. 19 points against the Mavericks the other night, 8 of 14. Only hit 1 of 5 from deep. Like, still really need to get that 3-point shot going before playoffs. And, you know, tonight, I think he only had 12 points against the Bulls. Again, no creators to like really set him up on that end. So I'm not faulting him too much for that. But, you know, me and Bridget made a parlay. She had Chet over 16.5 points for the Knicks. I was like, I think that's a great pick because Chet plays so much better. Yeah, with not only with Shai in the lineup, but also with Isaiah Hartenstein in the lineup, and the 2 main games that those guys have, and what Isaiah Hartenstein can do for creation for him. So I'm just really happy to see Chet Holmgren, you know, just really coming to his own. You know, as I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't want to jinx anything. But yeah, just shout out Chet. He's been awesome.
No, man, he has been awesome. It's been great to see a again, like you said, I don't want to jinx it, but like a healthy season from him, where But I
Just
mean, it's
tapping on
great
them.
to see that, man. It's
Yeah.
great to see that because that's what, that's the type of player and the type of game that we were expecting from him to be, not necessarily like I was never looking at Chet to be, oh my gosh, this 25-point scorer, nothing like that. I knew that scoring wise, it was going to be more SGA and Dub facilitating everything. And then he would kind of get the scraps, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but he would get what's left over. And, that would probably equate to somebody who's scoring like 17 to 19 points a game. But the way he's ratcheted up his rebounding, the way he's ratcheted up, even in this season, like his defense, he's gotten so
Mhm.
much better at anticipating. He's gotten so much better at like just getting to those spots. And it's, those are the things that whenever we were kind of looking at him in the draft process, and, a lot of the guys from No Ceilings were just like, his ability to just quickness, just off the ground to use his length, get in there, cause havoc as far as like, you know, um, rim protection and things like that. Like those are the things that we're seeing now, and those are the things that we're seeing as far as like him just developing his game and just being that good and that type of player. And so I don't think we'll ever see like a MVP 25-point season from him. But I do think that whenever you do have those other guys out there, the Shays, the AJs, the Dubs, Hartenstein, I mean, he's able to get his and still impact the game on the defensive end of the floor.
Yep. Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and spearhead the next thing large item as well. I just got to look up a stat really fast here. Great podcasting. I know I try my best here on the Top Thunder podcast, but one more thing to look at. All right, cool. Yeah, just fact checking.
I mean, we want to give you the correct information.
Absolutely. And I do have to look up one more thing here. Okay, yeah. In the 11 games that Jared McCain has played, how many games has he been the top scorer for OKC?
3?
Just 2. But
Just 2,
still,
okay.
it's awesome. Like, This is a guy that, we just picked up for basically scraps on the trade deadline. And,
it wasn't scraps, man. Like, I know, but I just want to say that it was not the scrap heap. Like, literally, this was the equivalent of Daryl Morey leaving a newborn baby at the fire station. That's basically what this was. And we got him for probably the 25th, 26th pick this year, and then a couple seconds after that. Like, if you want to talk about valuation of a player, like as far as like how much value you would expect them to get back, you would have at least expected McCain to get you back a top 20 protected pick. At least that.
Oh, yeah.
And he did, and he just let him go for nothing, basically. And it's just like, I feel for Philly fans. I know you don't care, but I feel for Philly fans. And I'm just like, bro, you have cost control over this guy for the next 3 seasons, for the next 2 seasons after this. And it's just like, this is the reason why you guys are in the position that you're in all the time, as far as like bloated payroll. Eventually your guys get injured from time to time. And whenever that day comes, you don't have the ability to kind of pivot and make moves. And you got to do things like this. You got to sell low on a player to go ahead and for that player. So 100% glad that Daryl Morey is an idiot and that Sam Presti is a genius.
Yeah, no, and he went nuts tonight, man. Like, he started out doing everything but hitting his threes. I think he was 0 for 3 to start the game, but he got to his mid-range like he has been. He had a really nice crafty, like, he pulled your movement. He pulled out the high cradle there and finished off the glass early in the game there as well. And then finally, persistence paid off. He started knocking down his threes, and like he was knocking down off the catch. He knocked him down off a pull-up. I think he had a step back. He had one where he was like 5 feet behind the three-point line and just drained it like it was nothing. Like, he is a real weapon on this team. And like I told Chelsea, I was talking to her about this. Like, obviously, whenever, and I was even talking to Bridget about this, but like whenever we traded for Jared McCain, the big thing that everybody circled that he was adding to this team was shooting. And he has. Like, he's done that, and he's done it in spades. But a byproduct of adding Jared McCain is Isaiah Joe elevating his game to new heights that we never imagined Isaiah Joe elevating his game. Because, like I was explaining to her, like, the fan base kind of thought Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, one of those guys were going to be the odd man out in the next like season and a half, just because like we still have Sorber in the wings, we still have Topage in the wings, we still have all these draft picks, all these things. It chokes me up thinking about it, of course. But these guys are like the odd man out, and like a lot of people thought that it was going to be Aaron Wiggins because Isaiah Joe has an elite skill, and then we acquired Jared McCain, who has that same elite skill. It's like, okay, maybe Isaiah Joe is going to be out on the outs because Aaron Wiggins was so impactful last year. Kind of made sense. Isaiah Joe has since elevated his game past anything Aaron Wiggins has given us, honestly, in terms of like consistency and the elite skill. And Aaron Wiggins, to his detriment, he's kind of struggled here recently. Now tonight, he put together a better game. He had 18.7 rebounds, still didn't shoot the ball great, 8 of 17 from the field, 0 of 5 from deep. That kind of tracks with what we've been seeing from him. I was hoping that tonight would kind of get him in more rhythm. I think that's why the Thunder ended up starting him. But yeah, Jared McCain, Isaiah Joe, or Jared McCain's play has elevated Isaiah Joe's play. And when they're on the floor together, they break basketball. And whenever Shai's on the floor together, it's just unstoppable.
You had a little 9-0 run from Isaiah Joe in about a minute. You saw in I think it was a Nuggets game where I think it was beginning of the second quarter where you had Shai, McCain, and Isaiah Joe out there together, and they put together like a 9-2 run. Like we've always said, give Shai shooters. If you give Shai shooters, it's over. It's a cheat code, it's a life hack, it's everything. And if you have 2 shooters around him, plus Chet, plus probably Hartenstein, like you want to talk about lineups, like death lineups, that's probably the most scariest lineup that you can kind of think of when it comes to a team's defense, an opposing team's defense. And then, let's throw in, the fact that maybe you can throw in, Jalen Williams, Dub, out there on one of those things whenever he gets healthy. And so you're literally playing with 2 shooters, 3 shooters. You're literally playing 4 out, and Shai can do whatever he wants. It was, again, a great pickup by Presti, and the byproduct of Isaiah Joe. I don't know if this is him feeling the pressure or this is him just playing freer. Maybe he has more opportunities and more space out there because the defense is looking at, McCain, but he's been on a tear. It's been great. It's been beautiful. And not just on a tear, like from outside, like this guy is literally like expanding his game every season. And he's expanding it to the point now where he is kind of an offensive engine out there. Like whenever the Shays of the world, the Dubs, the AJs aren't there, he becomes the offensive engine that this team needs to make moves offensively and to create points. And so, just seeing that creation, just seeing that development from him has been something that's been surprising. But when you think about the Thunder, it's not really that surprising.
Nah. Like tonight we saw him rip off what did he have, like a 9 points by himself in a little bit over a minute. He's nuts, man. Like he was lightning in a bottle. Obviously, like the shooting is there. He's added a little bit of a mid-range game, and he's explosive, man. As we've seen with Wiggins and Kaysen, all these players, whenever you start running back doors, hitting them on the back cut, between Jay Will, Isaiah Hartenstein, even Chet, all of our bigs are capable of making that pass. That's such a weapon to have on your team. Specifically, if you struggle in the half court like we have in the past, unless it's a Shai ISO. So, I would. I'm sorry. I would just say one of the last things we can say. I know you gotta go here in a second. I just want to give a shout out to Big J Will, Jalen Williams. I don't know if you saw Cone's tweet, but in Jalen Williams' last 10 games, he's averaging 10.7 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, 3 assists, 53.8% from the field, and 44.2% from the three-point line on about 4.3 attempts a game. And that is including the 30-point game that he had against the Detroit Pistons, who, as right now, number 1 team in the league, number 1 team in the East. He's been – oh, are we number 1 again?
We're number 1. They lost tonight. They lost.
Okay, bet. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was low key dozing off like in the last little bit of the Thunder game. I looked up. I'm like, how's it a 6-point game? Anyways, shout out Jalen, man. He's been awesome. And like, Bridget was saying that one of the biggest swing factors that the Thunder have in the playoffs is the bench. And based on, the leap that we've seen out of Isaiah Joe, what we've seen out of Jalen Williams here recently, the acquisition of Jared McCain, and, the mini run that we've had of Case and Wallace over the last couple of weeks. And then, of course, you have like the steady hands of like Alex Caruso, Kendrick Williams, Aaron Wiggins. If they get thrown in there, like, those are guys that can play. Like, I've never been more confident in this team's ability to repeat than I have in this moment. And like Zach Lowe said it best on his podcast today, like, the Thunder are going to get healthy again. Like, Jalen Williams is going to return to the lineup. AJ Mitchell is going to return to the lineup. Topich, catching DMPs, didn't even travel with the team. Like, top to bottom, these guys can play. The Thunder are going to get healthy again, and people are going to realize who the Thunder are once again, and they're going to remember that team that was running the league 24-1 to start the season. So I can't wait to get to that, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it is, man. And Jay Will has been a kind of a revelation this season, as far as like you thought he was going to come in and he's lighter, and that he wanted to get lighter in order to prevent injuries, to be quicker and things like that. But I think he's like, it's weirdly like he's able to absorb a lot more contact now, and he's out there like, playing against the bigs, playing against the Jokic's of the world, grabbing 16 rebounds, like, not really something that you would have thought from his game as far as like the first couple of seasons of his career. And he's just out there doing different things, man. It's like anything in life, man. If you keep on doing something, you're going to get better at doing it. And like, these guys have proven, like, every season they come back and it's something different, whether they've changed their body, whether they've changed, something in their game, but it's something that betters them and makes them better basketball players and makes them better for this team. And so, just shout out to him, man. He got his little contract extension, and he's working towards getting an even bigger one here in a couple seasons, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, to your credit, like you were saying, like, repetition, like just getting reps out there. And like, that's been one of the blessings in disguise for all these injuries is, all these guys stepping up, like I was saying. So like, now when you get in the playoffs, if Shai's getting doubled all to heck, like, guys aren't just going to be standing in the corner. They can go get the ball and execute. When Shai's on the bench and Jalen Williams is the guy, AJ Mitchell is the guy, like, again, guys aren't just going to be standing there, with their hands up, ready to take the ball. Like, they're going to be relocating, setting screens, cutting to the basket, get the ball in their hands, make a play. Like, it's going to be scary hours, man. It's going to be scary hours.
Can't wait.
But yeah, man. No, absolutely. With that being said, I know Alex does get it off here. The pod lasted a little bit longer than I had anticipated, and I am very sleepy. As I was telling Bridget, it's been raining in Kentucky for like 4 days, and like, it's just been over. I haven't seen the sun in like 4 days. I'm very tired, just constantly tired. So I will say I have reached out to everybody who won in the giveaway for the tickets. Made contact with everybody, and congratulations to those who won the tickets. Once again, if you did not get tickets, you can hit up Jansen Adams on Twitter. He had 19 tickets. I don't know what he's selling them for, but that is a possibility. And again, if you guys do not secure tickets and you still want to come to the meetup after the game at the parlor, you absolutely can. We will be posting the details as soon as we have them. But I think off the top of my head, we're looking at like 4:30 to 8:30 at the parlor that night on Sunday. What is that, March 15th? Yeah, March 15th. So if you can't go to the game, hope to see you there at the parlor. Great food, great drinks for those of you who like to drink, great conversation. And we're working on some stuff that we can do at the parlor to, make the experience even better. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. And as always, Thunder up.